she's gonna ask me some questions. And in 2 more hours, I gotta be in Cali, so I'm gonna try my best to fully focus on your question. So do you want me to read it off of the thingy that you wrote here to me?
Oh, I had a few questions, but my topic was how religious upbringings have affected LGBTQA plus adults. Um, so I have a few questions, if I could ask them to you.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, oh, thanks. So my first was, it's pretty generic, but it was, how would you describe Buddhism to someone who doesn't know anything about your religion? Just to get an introduction.
Sure. So Buddhism is the path to peace. And that means that we teach suffering and the complete ending of suffering, especially mental suffering. We teach why people suffer, the what, the why, and how to alleviate that, the extinguishment of that entirely in this lifetime, and it can be achieved. Buddhism is a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's kind of like a lifestyle. So if you adopt it and try it out, test it out, then it could do wonders for you, just like it has been working out for the past 2,600 years ago for the many people that have practiced meditation. So it's a pretty chill philosophy. In essence, Gen Zoomers, Gen Alphas out there, it's a pretty chill philosophy where we teach you the art of letting go, how to deal with your emotions, why your brain thinks the way that it does, your mind, why your mind is tripping, and what to do when it's tripping, and what to do when everybody else in your life is tripping.
Okay. Yeah. What are some main practices that you felt really helped you achieve this?
Mindfulness of the breath is important. Mindfulness of mind, body, mental volitions, actions. So there's two types of meditation: calming meditation, which is samatha, and vipassana, insight meditation. Additionally, we also have supportive meditation, such as meditation on the Buddha, meditation on loving kindness, meditation on death. Those I have found to be supremely effective for us humans to make sense and purpose and meaning in our life by and do those potent practices.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think you're still in shock that we're talking, so.
I know. I am. I'm super excited. Okay. So, is homosexuality permissible in your religion?
Yes. The Buddha did not discriminate anyone who is LGBTQIA plus across the spectrum: gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual. As a matter of fact, our precept, the precept of refraining from sexual misconduct, technically, if everyone is on board, and even if you wanted to have multiple partners and if it's consensual, you can have multiple partners if it's consensual and no one gets hurt.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Right now, there's like pansexual and all sorts of terminologies out there that complicates things, and you got like swingers and all these types of people just trying out their sexual arena in figuring out the curiosity of what they like and who they like it with and what they want to do and who they want to do it with. I study psychology, 4 years, Ecker College, so sexuality is something that I also study across the spectrum. There's a big, huge book over there on LGBTQIA plus, the psychological perspectives on them. Mm-hmm.
Could I ask you a question? Because I was looking this up, like homosexuality and Buddhism, and then I found this book, and it's abstract, and it says homosexuality and transgenderism are not prohibited in Buddhist teachings and are sometimes seen as the result of past lives, gender asserting itself in the present. And it says, historically, the Buddhist approach to non-standard gender and sexual practices have been of tolerance yet unacceptance. And so I was...
Who wrote it? Who wrote it?
It was by Damien Keown.
Can you take a picture, send it to my phone? I think you were, no, I don't think we were texting. I think we were, can you send me a picture of it real quick? It's very important who writes it and who writes it, because remember that Tom, Dick, and Harry wrote the Bible, and Tom, Dick, and Harry also wrote the Nikaya, which is our version of the Bible. So you have to profile who Tom, Dick, and Harry is. You know, sometimes the person who is writing the book could have something perhaps against LGBTQIA plus. So I just wanted to profile who that person is real quick. But I have not found any teachings myself across the board that suggest a frown towards LGBTQIA plus.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I've announced this for years, for like almost 10 years. I've been teaching publicly across all social media network for the past 7 years, and no one's ever objected or told me that my teachings were wrong. So, right.
I think that's really great to know that kind of clarity. I sent it to you on email.
I just got it here, and I just wanted to take a glance at this. Just see the validity and accuracy of this book real quick. Buddhist
Okay.
ethics, sexuality, and gender. Interesting. Something that I will probably have to. When was this? June 2020. Huh. This is something I have to probably order, read it, and then glance through it. And then if he has citations on there, then I'm going to check out the citations and compare it. But he teaches Buddhist bioethics, suicide and euthanasia, clones, cyborg, Buddhist morality. Well, he's on it, huh? Man.
Yes. And it was the first thing that popped up on my search when I typed in homosexuality and Buddhism.
Oh. The question I have for him is, are you gay, sir? Yeah, you know, I just want to know. Sometimes, uh, you know, some scholars target a subject, and you have to ask why they target the subject. I just want to know. I don't know what I don't know, you know. But again, this is why I teach publicly, and it is up for peer-to-peer examination and peer reviewed. Meaning, you know, I'd sit on a panel of Buddhist scholars, and if I was wrong throughout the repetitiveness every single year, I stand up for LGBTQIA plus, holding LGBTQIA flag behind me, wearing bright orange robe in Clearwater, Florida, which is like the biggest city here. Everybody knows Clearwater. So if I was wrong, somebody would tell me that, what are you doing and why are you doing this? You know what I mean? It's like a Catholic priest doing the same thing, and of course that's frowned upon in the Catholic world. But if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. So this is something that's very interesting that I received, and I'll be reviewing that and matching it up with citations, because we have a lot of Buddhist scholars that is out there. So this is the first awareness that I have in my 10 years as a monk.
Thank you so much.
Because you
Yeah.
said, oh, and there's also a book called Misquoting Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's when we put stuff like this under examination, we also have to look at the commentaries. We also have to look at where did they cite the source and how deep did they actually went. Did they went into the Pali Canon, the original 5 books, and the Sutta Pitaka and the Vinaya, you know, and kind of examine it closely. So, sometimes people can misquote things and not even know it, citations. So it's like very careful, meticulous attention to small details. And we have monks out there who does extensive academic scholar research on it, and they'll have to be matched up with that. But I am I'm interested in reviewing this. And obviously if you don't see a lot of it, then I just don't, you know, if it's one guy writing it, I mean, we got to sit there and scratch our head for a little bit. But if like 5 people wrote on it, then obviously it's been repeated over and over again that it is
Right.
not okay. It's not okay. And multiple authors agree that it is not okay. And I've never ran across senior teachers, intermediate teachers, that says that it was not okay. So, so you have to look at the consensus and statistics when you're trying to do this type of research, and one book says different, and you have a whole worldwide of monks, and nothing is being outwardly spoken about that we are against it, and it is not okay. You cannot join the order, or so on and so on. Now, I've had a lot of gay monks join the order because they were not accepted in their family. And this is something that I feel very strongly about worldwide. And that's why I don't teach to certain populations, including my own, is because I will dissent very heavily on the parents who don't accept their children. Dissent very heavily. So, realizing that I could cause additional controversy for an entire nation, I chose not to touch up on certain subjects. And just kind of leave it alone, because it can actually get to certain governments' ears, and they're like, well, you know what, John, maybe you shouldn't even come to this country. So we're not going to give you a visa to this country based upon your teaching. So I haven't had that done yet, but, I have law and medicine as my background before becoming a monk. So I'm quite lawyer-like.
No, I love it. I think it works really well.
Yeah. It's the advocation part of it. You got to have a particular aggressive personality to stand up for human rights and stand up for human happiness, because nobody dares to say something about it. But I ain't got nothing to lose. What are you going to do? Sue me? What are you going to get? You get 3 pair of these, which you can easily get in jail, by the way. So
That actually goes on to my next question, though.
Yes.
What you just said. Because, of course, you talk to a lot of people, and I wanted to know, what are some experiences that you can remember, or that someone else has told you, that has affected their childhood or adolescence that has now been carried on to adulthood due to religious upbringings?
about being gay,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. A lot of it. Especially the Christianity world, actually. And Buddhism is funny. Well, Vietnamese is mostly Mahayana Buddhism. Out of the two school, And their practices and philosophies are a little confusing. And if it's confusing to me, it's confusing to other people. So the parents who came up from Mahayana Buddhism have children who are gay and lesbian and across the LGBT board. And they see what they want to see, they understand what they want to understand, and they know what they want to know. Close-minded, one-pointed direction, leading to untold amount of suffering, because the child cannot express who they are, the human that they are, and the love that they want to express to other humans that they've chosen. And it's horrible, and it's not consistent with Buddhist teaching. And same thing like with the Bible. It's like, love is love. Love your neighbor. And if your neighbor is gay, and if you are gay, you want to love your neighbor, like, what's the big deal? And again, Tom, Dick, and Harry wrote the Bible. And you'll have to ask, does Tom, Dick, and Harry, really have a thing? Or did something happen to Tom, Dick, and Harry when they were little? And then as a direct result of this trauma, they decided to write this Bible. And then they just have something against sodomy and gays, and a man mounting another man, and a woman mounting another woman, and all these things that they put so heavily toxic in there. And Buddhism is pretty chill. And this is why monks are the living teachings of the Buddha. That means we have authority to interpret. And we interpret as it is, and what it is, and how we can apply it to our life. Conjointly, and as an analogy, it's kind of like the practice with the non-self, no self, or no soul. Yeah, and it's like, well, Buddhism doesn't believe in a soul. Well, what is a soul? And a soul is the constant, an unchanging, permanent entity that continues after you die. And Buddhism asserts that, well, your streams of consciousness continues, and that it is subject to change, just like how we are today. Who were you 5 years ago? Were you the same you? Were you straight 5 years ago, and all of a sudden now 5 years later you're gay, or vice versa? So you have to ask yourself, like, who were you yesterday? Because your emotion yesterday was off the hook, Karen, and now today you're like a totally different person. We call that bipolar. A lot of people have bipolar, and sometimes that's just a natural thing for them, like constantly. I mean, you go and you poke a stick at them. Do you think they're gonna be nice to you? No. Um, so and like when it comes to this subject, I know it's not related right away. It's not related right away. But when we talk about the soul, and I'm like, who cares about the soul? Do you think I care about the soul? Do you think I sit here and I'm like, I wonder when I die if I'm going to be united with Buddha, or I'm going to rebirth into a snail? Or I don't think about that, because we have so much to do in this lifetime as a human, nonetheless having anxiety worrying about the next life.
Right.
So it's irrelevant to obsess over the soul. That's just like, why? Why? You must have a lot of time on your hand. Have you resolved your suffering here and now? So when it comes back to um, um, people, stuck on one thing affecting their children, and wrong religious understanding leads to discrimination, bias, and prejudice towards the children. And that has carried on until this very day, affects their self-esteem, self-concept, self-identity, self-value. And I see that often. That's why they reach out for counseling services.
I see that too. That was interesting, that what you said about the soul.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? I don't care. And the Buddha says, like, for those who have lived wisely, they don't even fear death. I've lived wisely, and many times you hear me teach, and I'm like, I don't care if I die. I'd drop dead right now, and I'd be smiling in my coffin. Because I've given more and taken less. I'm doing God's work. Look at you. You're a recipient. You were just a name on my email, and look how fast I got to you. And I treat you just like everybody else. It's a standard of care. I didn't care if you were gay, straight, lesbian. I didn't care if you were black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Japanese. I treat every human the same. Yeah.
I feel like it's hard for a lot of people to give that level of grace.
You just gotta understand yourself, know who you are. And if you hate, I ask why you hate. And if you love, why do you love? Understanding thyself. Every philosopher, Christ, Buddha, Aristotle, Plato, talks about knowing thyself.
Could you explain your experience with Buddhism? Because was this something that you grew up in?
My dad's side of the family is Catholic. My maternal side of the family is Buddhist, but they were not Theravadan Buddhist. I chose this path because I was a very suicidal kid growing up. And after my grandmother died, I hit rock bottom really, really bad. I wanted to take my own life in the most destructive way. I lost my grandmother in 2015. I lost Jacob Hall, my best friend. And not to mention, which I forgot to mention because it was too painful to mention, Travis Dickhouse. So I lost a succession of very important people in my life my senior year in college. And I just wanted to just take all sorts of destructive action. I just didn't care anymore. So this was the path to peace. And I figured if I didn't start figuring this out intelligently, that I was going to be dead or in prison. So yeah, it worked out. I grew up Catholic though. I'm still very indebted in the Catholic world for all the things that they've done for me, the education I have received. But that's how I got started in Buddhism, and it's done wonders for me. The philosophy is very effective. It's very comprehensive. It's very nurturing for the human intellect, spirit, heart, emotions.
Oh, that was such a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Thanks for opening up to me.
No, I've said this over and over again publicly, but I forgot about Travis because I just didn't. We block out things that are painful, and I was reminded of that recently too. Oh, when I went to Arizona with my best friend Randy. Now I have like 3 more best friends. One just died last year. Kyle Corin died of a motorcycle accident. I didn't get a chance to grieve or mourn because of all of the counseling sessions that I've been taking on. But the impact was so great because these were like saints that I knew. I didn't make a mistake in choosing them as friends, and they were just such awesome people that gave so much. So when you lose an angel, like an angel that walked and breathed on this planet, it it's a very different kind of punch. Some people describes it as getting punched in the heart. Well, I got stepped on by Godzilla's foot. So each loss like that, it was like getting squished and trying to peel yourself from the footprints of that gradually. And sometimes when I talk about it, I get emotional and I cry a lot actually, because I have to like remain strong for humanity to also remain strong. So I also sometimes I do suppress, I do push, I do the things that I tell people not to do, even onto myself, because I get mad at God sometimes. I get mad at karma, and I'm like, how did you target some of the best humans we have on this planet and took them away from me, and took them away from humanity? Yeah.
It is a cycle, that cycle of life. Is there a way that you're able to grieve that's effective for you? Because this has been occurring, it seems like a frequent theme in your life. So how are you able to cope?
Yeah, the other thing is that I opened up my yearbook yesterday. My dad grabbed my yearbook by accident, and he's like, "Can I use this to like put the printer on top of it?" And I'm like, "No, no, put my Northeast High School yearbook back. What is wrong with you?" I went over there and I opened up the first 3 pages. The cover of the page had all of the writings in it from my friends about you were awesome, we love you, da da da. And I was started getting very emotional yesterday before leaving the office and starting my packing. And I started turning the page and seeing all of the faces. I just couldn't get past like 4 pages. It was so painful because of all of the humans that I've lost. You know, Christopher, what's his last name? AKA Cisco. Just Thomas Shepard, you know. Some of these individuals were so awesome in school. Then I started to reflect on, because my program is teen suicide, and now I'm reflecting on school shootings, and I'm like, how did kids bring guns to school and want to kill each other? Because we had such a great time at Northeast High School here in St. Pete. I had so many laughter. I felt so accepted. Life is already hard. And just to, I started flipping the pages and I realized some of these people are not here anymore. Some of the best, good people never seen again. So the best way I grieve is continuing the good work that I'm doing now and just knowing that they're smiling down and they're like, you're doing a great, I just pretend like they're telling me that I'm doing a great job, and they would want me to continue doing this and not go towards the depressive side. From time to time, I actually get little jolts of depression. And I'm like, I'm sad today. I just wish all my friends were here. Or I take my vacation. I take my vacation. I'm like, I really wish you guys were here looking at the Grand Canyon with me. I really wish you were here. As a matter of fact, when I went to see the Grand Canyon last week and I saw the depth of the mountain, to me, it described the depth of my pain, losing them. And it was like, I was like gasping for air. Not literally, but it was breathtaking. But at the same time, it was like an empty void there that I identified, I felt. And I just had to pick myself back up and said, look, keep going. Right now, it's not the time to grieve and mourn right now. There will be a time for that. But right now, you have all these competing priorities with humanity. They need you. So get it together, Chidao. Get it together. Gather yourself, please. and go. And I think that's how I get by too. Is continuously serving people. Because when you continuously serving people by keeping busy, you don't have time to the practice of the nonsense, the practice of the self and the non-self, which is me, mine, I, my emotions, my loss, my pain, my grieving, my. When you turn that my inwards a little too long, a little too deep, you end up scarring yourself. That's why Americans, they say, get over yourself. You know? Yeah.
I think that you expressing how much you feel and just showing how human you are is going to be inspiring for others even more, because it gives you a factor of relatability.
Yeah.
And you have a certain platform, and I know that sometimes there can be a disconnect with people in a different platform, but I do appreciate how much you express how much you've been through, because like I said, these are very human emotions, and it's just nice having someone that can also relate with you, because you feel like a comfortability around this person.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm human. I mean, just like the Buddha, he was human, and he was also subject to like old age, disease, decay, death, and perhaps some of the emotions that is attached to some of the things that he saw. I mean, he literally saw his entire clan get wiped out before he died, and some of the monks that was in the order that was killed viciously. So people think that monks are bulletproof. I'm not yet there, and it sucks sometimes. It sucks sometimes because I'm not supposed to like grieve and mourn some of the youngest. So they're so young, and I'm still so young
Mm-hmm.
to like think about it, and to like take these vacations and realize that we had this planned out 10 years ago for all of us to be here and just kick it back and enjoy our careers and stuff like that. I just, just looking back, and I'm like, I wish it was so much different. But it is exactly this realization of the teachings, the impermanence nature, the changing factor, and rarely is it under my control, that also propels me towards the path to sainthood. Because realizing that if it sucks like this already, well, I obviously don't want to come back in another human realm and experience more losses like that. The depth and magnitude of the losses. Now, if these individuals were like thieves and rapists and murderers, like who would care? Like I wouldn't sit here and cry over it. But they weren't. They were just so phenomenal, extravagant, extraordinary individuals at such a young age that they were early praise and promise for the world to come. And so, and there's no point to for me. Some monks I look on social media, I'm like, that's not you. Like you're putting a front, you're putting a show, and that's not me. It's so hard putting a front and hiding it and thinking that you are something that you're not. And I think I inspired people across the world because of the genuineness. I am who I am. I have flaws, sometimes more than all of you. You know what I mean? It's no different than priests and bishops, saying we're all sinners, and so am I. And I wish I was more holy, like Cardinal McCarrick. He said, I wish I was more holy. And I'm like, oh, that's really beautiful for you to say and to be humble in that way. To be a prince of the church and still say that you wish, you could have been more, done more, and be more. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Could I ask you, going through that time, especially so young, how were you more inclined towards Buddhism than Catholicism, which is what you grew up in?
So lately I've been listening to Justin Bieber. I mean, who don't love Justin Bieber, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And just and Justin Bieber is apparently he's been singing about Jesus for quite some time that I was not aware of, because
Yeah.
I have to keep the precepts of not engaging in entertainment. So the only time I get to hear entertainment is when a student introduced something to me, and I'm like, what, where, how? He talked about Jesus, where? Show it to me. And it was really beautiful, a very emotional. Holy Jesus. The title is Holy Jesus by Justin Bieber. And I'm sitting there and I have this clashing dichotomy, clashing duality, because I'm so indebted, because it was the Catholic relief services that we were able to come to America. So it's like, how do you look the other way? How do I turn How do I turn my cheek away from Jesus? You can't.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, perhaps it's time to return back to Jesus. He loves me. I know that he loves me, and I love him. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to, and I've been reviewing the teachings of Jesus this past week, and I go, and I had my doubts, and I'm like, I don't think that it is more comprehensive and more effective than the teachings of the Buddha. 84,000 teachings. And I'm also listening to different fathers talk, and it's very repetitive. And some of the teachers in Catholic and Christian school, they tell the kids, Jesus loves you. It's like, oh, I get it, but how? In life, human cognition, emotions, and everything will always go back to the how. How do I love? How do I love my neighbor who hates gay people? How do I love my neighbor who is a terrorist, or whatever you want to call, whatever's going on? We live in a very complex world. And so, it will always come back to the how. And I find, and I'm still doing research, not like, I've concluded at age 37, but and trying to merge the two teachings together. So out of all the monks in the world, I'm going to be that one that's different, and could be could be confusing at times, where it's like, he loves Jesus, but what about all of the elements in Buddhism about sainthood, and how does that affect him becoming a saint in the Buddhism world? And you know what I mean? So it's a little confusing, but I look at what we need to use and what we need to know now to transcend human suffering. And then I think that after I die, if they want to play tug of war, then they do that. I'm just gonna do as much good as I can and not be attached onto that one thing about, oh, you had doubts in the teachings of the Buddha. Oh, you had doubts in the teachings of Jesus. You know what? I'll let you folks figure that out when I die. When I die, you guys can have a jury panel, and you guys can have debate, and I'll have my public defender present with me. Right now, I don't have time to debate on that, and I don't want to debate on it. Some things you shouldn't spend too much time on. But, so Buddhism, has the comprehensive how that I absolutely love, and love using that tool to help other people. Because without those tools, I would just be saying, Buddha loves you. You should ask Buddha for stuff. You should ask Buddha for good grades without doing the homework. Just sit there and pray and chant and, light incense and offer food to the altar right here on my right, where my mom still does. My mom's in the room. Oh, God. So, yeah, it's funny. You just gotta laugh at some of these things. But that's how I deal with it. Yeah. Good question.
That's so interesting. I love it.
And the other thing is how we lack that statement to people. It's like, it's like people tell me Jesus loves you, and I'm like, I know he loves me. Thank you for the reminder. In Buddhism, we don't say that to people. Buddha loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And don't we all need love? And a lot of us lack love in the world. Being rejected by parents, being rejected by loved ones, and we don't even love ourselves. So that's why we need to hear it. We need to hear, representative of Christianities tell us that he loves us and he forgives us. He accepts us, and he loved us before we even did all of these. Before we started sinning, he loved us, and then he still loves us as we're sinning. So I thought that was comforting. So both sides have good contributions towards human education and understanding of the human heart. So that's why this will always be a continuous dialogue. So a lot of people are going to be scratching their head like, who is this cheat out guy? Don't get him. It's okay. You don't have to get me. I get me. That's all that matters.
Exactly. I just love the openness when it comes to religion.
Yeah.
I think that's really great, because a lot of people can be a little closed-minded to just even hearing about a different kind of religion.
Yeah.
So it's just nice hearing the dynamic that you're kind of having.
Yeah, and I was in Arizona talking to like 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds in like dozens and hundreds, and I did not see this. When you talk like I do, holding the microphone, and you start seeing this right here, oh, then Jidao need to get off the stage. I need to Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Disappear.
Bye.
You just need to go.
Hello, is this mic still working? 1 2 1 2. But they were all clapping, and they even came up, and this was all captured on my GoPro about, you know, thank you, and some of the older folks, the seasoned, because the older folks that knows the most, typically, they're wiser, they know the most, they're more experienced, and one of the gentlemen, and 40% in there were gays
Interesting.
at a Christian church, and they came up to me and he says, "You gave me hope," and I was like, but just the way he said that to me, and I was like, oh. Oh, thank you for letting me know. You know?
Oh my god. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful to hear though.
Yeah, he's like, you gave me hope. And I was like, I was just telling the truth.
Yeah.
I'm trained to just tell y'all like how it is.
How does it feel though having someone say that to you?
Yeah, it's reassuring, and sometimes you can't please everybody in a mass crowd like that, dozens and hundreds of people. So it was like amazing to and I just kind of like wander around waiting for feedback. And so this type of feedback tells me that you're doing great. Whatever it is that you believe in your heart, Jidao, is working for everybody else, and they see you and they see the teachings that you are proclaiming. Acceptance, love, compassion, understanding.
Right. Right.
I've yet to upload that, so I'll let you know when I upload that, or I'll just copy the link. But it was me sitting there with Venerable Vasu, all in black. He's a Zen monk, and I was wearing gold, and there was a panel of like all the other ones. We were there addressing Christian white nationalism.
Interesting.
Oh, so I was like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm like, what do you want me to say? I had minutes to prepare for that talk, and I just gave it to them. I just gave it to them.
It was from the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to do it. I mean, but if you lie, you better remember you lie. And if you make something up, you better make sure you know what you're making up. And you're going to get a lot of these from the crowd. Looking at the people down there, they're going to be like, mm-mm.
Of course, though,
Yeah.
If you're speaking on a group of people, there's going to be some that disagree with your teachings.
Right. But yeah, so I've never had anyone shake their head, so.
Oh my gosh.
No, yeah, they did not shake their head. So, yeah, that's my point. Is that I'm telling you what I told them, and no one shook their head, and they were very receptive, and so.
I have a question with that. This is my last one, I promise.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, no, you can. Well, we may have to restart it because it's only a minute, right? You want to send me another link?
There's a minute left.
You want to send me another link, and I'll just click on it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay.
She's really into this. I can tell. She's really all into I can tell when someone's really all into the conversation. So she's gonna send me the link on Zoom. Zoom costs money. I don't pay for Zoom. Can't afford it. So she can send me the link in my email. She's pretty quick. So she is a multimedia journalism student. University of Toronto. And she sent me an email 2 days ago, and now here we are. And in 2 hours, I have to be at the airport. The number 2. So, bear with me. Let me answer some of the questions you guys have here. What do you focus on? Do you try to eliminate all senses? Oh, so Taraku, I invite you to go to buddhanet.net, because this question is going to take forever to answer. buddhanet.net, and go to Theravada, and they'll tell you about the two primary type of meditation we have. And it's pretty awesome. It just gets the job done. My book cover came in for this right here. Oh, this is one of them, by the way. Let me showcase this to you guys. This is the Manual of Insight by Mahasi Sayadaw. This is a tradition that I study extensively. Mahasi Sayadaw. This man led about 500,000 to 1 million people into stream entry, sainthood, in Myanmar. Now Myanmar, formerly Burma. So I came across this for how much was this book? Like $20 or something? And I was like, wow. And it has everything in there. Everything. Four Noble Truth, contemplation of feelings, basically the four foundations of mindfulness, but in very extensive detail, and by and through his own words. This is translated by the Vipassana Meditation Foundation Translation Committee. So this is a must-have. So if you guys, this is gotta be a must-have. And I regretfully did not do a video on this for TikTok. That's my fault. Let me do one right now. Let's get it over with. Do my job. Do my 8, hit the gate. Hello to all of you on TikTok. I'm just making this video as book recommendation. This is called The Manual of Insight by Mahasi Sayadaw. Mahasi Sayadaw perhaps led 500,000, we know, to 1 million people in stream entry, first stage of sainthood. And this is the 4 foundations of mindfulness encompasses in this beautiful book I got for like 20 bucks by Wisdom Publication. So for all of you who are interested in the primary type that we practice, Vipassana, this is a must-have, must-read. This is how you impress me, by the way. When you come forward and you're like, hey, Venerable, remember that book? Yeah, I read it. I want to talk to you about it. So can't wait to hear from some of you. You can research all this on, I don't know, I guess Google, Amazon, Thrift Books, Manual of Insight, Mahasi Sayadaw. Mahasi space Sayadaw. Sayadaw is like most venerable. You can't go any higher than a Sayadaw. You know, the thing is like, it's not, you can't really read it because I'm holding it up the way that I'm holding it up. So, very comprehensive book. So when something is that important, I buy book covers for it, and this was on Amazon. And that's how, so when I look around, Wisdom Publication. Yeah, just look it up, Mahasi Sayadaw. Thank you for writing that out. When something is really important, I put it in one of these book covers. And it tells me, when I look at my whole library of books and I know the ones that got these type of covers, I'm like, yeah, you need to read that one first. Immediately, quickly. Especially here, we just got that hurricane and 2 more coming. They're trying to wipe away my library. No, ma'am. Don't touch my library. I need to be enlightened before y'all wipe out my library. So these are some of the perennial salient teachings before you could move on to anything else. So, see? And I stick it in my library and everybody's like, oh, here we go. She sent it. Invitation. Boom. Open link. I want to mess with her. Watch this. I'm going to mess with her when she goes on. But yeah, so this is how you value the Dhamma. And books like the, remember, AI is going to rewrite the Bible. So, no it ain't, because I got a hard copy. Damn it. Let me tell her that I hope she knows I'm on there already. This book right here, make no mistake that each page can take you weeks to understand. It's not hard. It's like 10th grade level reading. Hold on, let me reassess that. Yeah, it's about like high school level reading. But the fact that you have to reflect on it, like what he's talking about, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, understanding mind, understanding feelings, sensations, gets really deep. Because technically, you know, this is how the Buddha achieved enlightenment. So if all of us wants to achieve enlightenment, we would replicate. I'm on Zoom right now waiting for you. I'm trying to keep it together for this talk because I did not get that much sleep last night. I had a 6 a.m. appointment this morning as an interpreter in the legal setting, and here we go. Here she is. Audio. Thank you for choosing United Airlines customer service. How can I help you?
Okay. I would like you to help me by answering one more question.
You can ask as many as you like, as long as this lasts. Yeah.
because I know you have to go.
I haven't even packed. So I'm just going to throw everything in like some of you women do. Throw your shoes in. And I'm only going for 4 days, but I may be there for a week or a week and a half. So I'm going to drag a suitcase the size of you. Oh my God. It's going to look like I'm going to be there for like a month. And now I'm trying to analyze why I do that today. I'm like, you're going for 4 days. How many robes do you actually need for 4 days? And then the weather out there, and you know, this is summer robes, not winter robes. But over there is thicker robes. So God are worse than women. All right, go ahead.
Just pack like us and it'll be fine.
Yeah, for real. You know, like 30 pair of shoes. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so my last one is, how would you advise parents or guardians in a religious background to navigate having a child who is part of the LGBTQA plus?
Parents got to remember that all things are subject to change, including sexuality and preference.
Mm-hmm.
Preference, sexuality, it is fluid. I've had my friend, we're not going to say who.
Okay.
I have it on video, but I'm not going to ever publish it. I had the straightest friend, and we went to the gay bar club one day before becoming a monk. God, I always have to add that. Before becoming a monk, and we got drunk, and I was not that drunk. I'm watching things unfold. And the other guy, we're not gonna mention names, was gay, but people don't know he's gay. I know he's gay. And so we'll just nickname Jay. Okay, I'm gonna make stuff up. Okay, Jay is straight, and we'll call the other one Chris.
Okay.
And once that alcohol got in them, and the way they made out, girl, I was like,
it's like a movie.
I have never seen lips like that, like they were in love.
Did you know? Like, did you have any idea?
Jay was straight as a pencil. Straight. Because, you know, guys also do gay things too, like pinch each other's butts and stuff like that. So we done try this on him just to know, just to play around. He's straight as a stick, right? But when that alcohol got in, I don't know what the hell he was seeing through his eyes and how they got the way that they got and where they got to where they got. And they started sitting next to each other, looking at each other. And they started making out. Oh, listen, I pulled out my little Canon Elf SD something, whatever, what it used back in the day. And I put that thing on video. Oh, that thing's quick because the sliding button was bam, bam. And I was like, when you sober, I'm going to show you what you did. I still have a copy of that.
Oh my God. Those are for your eyes only.
Those are for researching only. Well, I mean, maybe I need to redefine that. That's subject to change. But I'm just like, wow, okay, so what's the point here? What's the point here? The point here is that people are subject to change. Sexuality is fluid. It's subject to change, is fluid. It's subject to based upon circumstances and is also upon preference. You know, there's going to be the long debate about if they were predisposed to be gay or if things happen in their life. Let's say perhaps females, just vice versa, okay? Cheated on them, they were traumatized by that, and then now they like guys. Or vice versa, or certain girls like other girls because they find them, you're so beautiful, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Okay, I get it. You know, and there's songs out there like I kissed a girl and I liked it. Okay, and then when it comes to gays, when you look at the Roman days, they were off the chain with the promiscuity, with the older guy and the younger, like they were off the chain with sexuality, and then having multiple partners. So you got to look at the historical aspect of it. If parents wants to have compassion with their kids, to their kids, they need to understand. And by understanding is studying. Study leads to understanding, understanding leads to compassion.
Mm.
So like I said, if it troubles them like that, and the reaction that they are projecting onto their kids being a little too quick is because they're not fully informed comprehensively the historical context of humanity, of what we were, who we are today, and how we proceed on forward. And to understand that they're suffering in the midst of figuring out themselves. The parents need to understand that the kids are suffering as the stages of development, according to Piaget and human development theories, is that, do you think your child is having a blast sleeping with 5 people? Do you think your child's having a blast trying to figure themselves out right now with identity crisis and pressure to succeed, suicides and depression and anxiety and bipolar and sleeping issues, can't eat, can't sleep, erectile dysfunction because they watch porn too much? Like, do you think they're having a blast? So if they're suffering and you're suffering, you suffer at your age the way that you're suffering, and they're suffering at adolescent ages, why would you contribute more suffering onto your child? You must want your child to jump off the Skyway Bridge, right, Karen? So some of these things have to be like re-emphasized strongly and comprehensively so they understand that, yeah, if I care about my child, I need to seek understanding by through education and not jump to conclusions without evidence that could potentially contribute to the suicide of my child.
Right.
Right.
I see.
Very clinical approach, very clinical,
Right.
universal, and straight to the point of suffering and the end of suffering.
I'm with my roommate right now, and she's also queer, and she definitely agrees with what you're saying. And it's just nice to also hear that from somebody else. What do you think?
She can ask me any question she like.
I've been snapping.
Yeah.
I've been snapping.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. No, I like what you said.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And a lot of us study our tail off to render these types of conclusions for humans to understand themselves. And again, they could be gay today, but they could be straight in 5 years. Who knows? Have hope. It's not the parents' job to change them or impose things on them that could be traumatic for until adulthood. The happiness, the pursuit of happiness, freedom, and liberation. If there's no happiness, then why live? So the other thing is that, yeah, they're subject to change. So you want grandkids? I get it, mom. But also, have hope, because people do get bored of sexuality too. The people do get bored of certain partners or preferences, sexual preferences. Do get bored of certain body parts, and then they're like, well, you know what? I just feel like, I just feel like going back to being straight again.
Have you seen Gender Be This Fluid, where you've seen
Sexuality.
that? Yeah, sorry. Have you seen Sexuality Be This Fluid?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. That's so interesting.
We all have needs. We were designed to, we were hunter and gatherer society. And of course, hunt, gather, and procreate with a lot of people at different times of the day with different partners. That's why we cheat. Well, back then they didn't call cheating; it called procreation, right? And so we have needs. It's like scratching an itch. Sex is like scratching an itch, And some people that is more promiscuous, they're more sexually, they just need more frequency, So like, go do you, YOLO. Damn it, go. Just, no glove, no love. Don't bring home STDs. You just go do you. Like, if anyone was to ask me, well, Venerable, what do you think about sex? Go have it. The more we tell you not to have it, you go have it any darn ways. But have it, that's why there's sex education in school. So that informed choice, because you don't want herpes, you don't want the gift that keep on giving, you don't want it, like the Usher, the song, Let It Burn. Girl, don't let it burn. So, you got to be very well educated in the risk that you're taking. You get to know your partner, you know, especially the first 3 months before y'all start doing the things that you're doing. Um, and we Buddhist monks teach you all causes and conditions. So if you're gonna go first night out and you want to go into a movie theater at night, you are creating the causes and conditions for something that is not good. Because you know that you are not going into movie theaters that night holding hands, singing "Kumbaya" and reading the Bible together. So that's a great ingredient to get knocked up. So we help students exercise that critical thinking, and the suspension between their cognitive thinking and their emotions, so that you know we're blinded by our emotions. The construction of emotion is based on guesses, and if you're sitting with a person in front of you, you're like, "Damn, she hot. She's a baddie, 10 out of 10." You're already starting to construct emotions about this, you know, impressions about this person.
Right.
Right. So be careful. Don't act off. Be careful. Slow to act. Slow down, Tigger. Slow down. So I make it really fun when I teach subjects like this to the Gen Zs and Alphas, so that they're more aware, and with awareness you make better choices. With better choices you become happier and less mistakes.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do think that it's important to inform parents or guardians about this. But it's just the way that you said it that was really funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm done with my questions, but Jen, do you want to, she's my roommate, do you want to ask our guest anything?
What's your take on transgender folks in your religion?
We accept them too. They're pretty chill. We don't have any problems. Again, I just hope that they don't take drastic measures that could alter their body permanently. One thing I really want all humans to understand is that you're subject to change. Okay, your emotions, your situations, your partners, your livelihood, your income, everything is subject to change. Impermanence, said the Buddha. So therefore, you know, when people do gender reassignments or hormone replacements, it could alter them permanently, and sometimes it could be irreversible and make it harder to reverse down the road, which causes physical pain and suffering, which can lead to suicides. A lot of transgender in Thailand 90% Buddhist, a lot of high suicide rates because of the despair that they go through because of the transgender choices of transitioning to transgenderism. Yeah.
That is so interesting. It's so, I really appreciated you talking about Buddhism. It's definitely something that I want to research more into, understand a little more.
I made some breakfast, so I'm so hungry.
Aw, thank you so much.
Okay, so
I really appreciate you spending so much time this morning.
no problem, no problem. As you think of more questions, feel free to send them. Buddhism is very broad. 45 years of teaching, 84,000 teachings in the 45 years that he taught. So as you come up with more questions, don't hesitate to send them to me. Don't hesitate, because I'm actually exercising my brain, you know, pulling out the library in my head to readdress the issues that all of us are pressing for, or yearning for and hungry for. Coming up with answers of what's going on nowadays and why are people behaving this way, and how should parents treat their children, and how should children respond when they're not being accepted. And so that's why it helps to, you know, for monks to mediate, you know, within family dynamics, so that everyone can just chill out.
I love the level of advocacy you have, especially when you're out on the streets with your umbrellas.
Yeah, it's no joke. Yeah, it's a pretty tenacious move, a pretty bold move. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bold.
Because it's easy getting shot too. It's easy getting shot wearing orange as a monk. Because you got people who are like extremists out there, and yeah, so I have to be careful too. There's the cost of standing up for peace. Any activists, any activists or advocates, they risk their life sometimes standing up for the right thing. So.
Well, thank you for being that advocate, especially to the Buddhist community as well.
Yeah, for all actually. Buddhism.
Not just I know, not just that community, but just for all of us as well. It's nice hearing your input, and I really appreciate you talking to me.
No problem. Good luck in school. I'm not sure how many years you got left or months you got left, but
Oh no, it's next year.
yeah, just keep at it. I always get a kick out of talking with college students. They're very bright, intelligent, and curious. Always wondering in the academic world, never-ending research in academia. So we, all of us, await for you to graduate and recontribute that knowledge back to all of us in the world. So keep up the good work, and you have my blessings. Feel free, okay, to reach out anytime. Have a good day.
It was so nice meeting you.
Oh, and by the way, I may be up in the Toronto area because that's where Venerable Sarnapala is.
You know, I'm going to Thailand next week, so I'm going to see what you kind of, you know, have been saying about the transgenderism there. I want to keep my eyes open.
Yeah, do go and attend some of the shows that they have. Go into the adult districts and do your research. Go into the adult districts and analyze faces, behavior, analyze the economy, analyze the sex workers to get an understanding of, I see. You know, just to know. You got to go to see to know. But and with that knowing and evidence that you bring back, then you're able to make a better presentation for the humans that will be sitting in front of you listening to you. So
I agree too.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Good luck in Thailand. I hope to see some pictures too if you do take some pictures. I'll send you a video of me in Thailand. God, I have so many pictures in Thailand. I was there April for 2.5 weeks.
Is it posted on your YouTube?
Some of them, if you go back far enough. If you go back, I don't know, because I post every day, so you have to go back far enough. But there is some on my phone. But I don't have your phone number. That's like one of the fastest way. But you can go back or Instagram too. Instagram's got, yeah. So.
Okay. I will definitely keep in touch with you.
Yeah. Feel free. I teach for free. I don't charge money. Theravadins do not charge money. Cannot charge money. Cannot ask you except a cup of water. So just know the rules.
Okay, I have that in mind.
All right.
Okay.
Take care, okay? All right. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I got to get ready to go. Thank you all for listening and being wonderful listeners. You all can get with me on Facebook or my email. Oh, it's time to go to Cali. The next time I go live, you're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge behind me again. 2 weeks ago, I was there. I got to go and counsel some family members up there. Not my family, other people's family. See you, folks.